Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan, and welcome back to the Captain Logan Show. Joining me as always is my son and chat moderator, co-host, Jason.
Hi.
And I just realized that I did not, it's been so long since we've done a Captain Logan Show, I forgot how to do the Captain Logan Show. So anyway, Marvel delays, that's what we're primarily talking about this evening. You guys can watch me just do OBS on the fly here.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for joining us. Like I said, it's been a little while since we've had a regular Captain Logan show. We did meet, what, 2 weeks ago, Jason, to do another trailers response. We've been doing that occasionally in lieu of a Captain Logan show. And then last week, you were out for some kind of dance thing, I think. Yeah. And so Austin and I did a show. But we are back, and let me do a little bit of house cleaning stuff before we get the show rolling. First of all, appreciate you being here. If there's something that you really want us to talk about, as always, you can leave a super chat any dollar amount and guarantees that we'll talk about your topic, at least in the second half. If you leave a super chat about the topic that we're currently on in the first half, as we're going through news items and topics, we will go ahead and tackle those while we're talking about them. We appreciate you guys. And tonight's top super chatter gets a personal video message from me on any topic that you want me to talk about, and I'll do 8-10 minutes or longer if I just really get on a roll. If you ask me something super cool and I'm just really excited about it, you could end up with your own personal Captain Logan show. It's possible. So anyway, if you're interested in that, that's how you get it, but don't feel guilt-tripped into leaving super chats. We appreciate you just being here and hanging out with us. But quick plug for another thing I don't want you to feel guilt-tripped about, but I would like you to know about. Of course, patreon.com/geekvolution. The $2 tier gets you access to extra content that we put out, and lately it's just been Batman 89 commentaries. So if you just really love that movie like I do, there are lots and lots of commentaries with different spins I've been doing. I do those live, usually Sunday nights, and I let everybody on the channel see those while I'm broadcasting them. But if you want the playback, you have to be a patron. But we are also finally bringing Geekvolution After Dark back. I've been so busy with the movie, I haven't been able to work that in lately, but we're finally getting back to it. Brandon's going to be here later tonight, and Austin can't make it, but Jason's going to be here for that show. And so it'll be less After Darky than usual. We won't
it
do
will
as...
still be After Dark. as far as
it'll be
time
late.
goes.
Yeah, it won't be as swear heavy, but it'll be looser, and we'll talk about things we don't usually talk about on the channel. So, pop in. Jason's first question when I invited him to that show was, "Do I get to swear?" And I was like, "That would make me a horrible parent."
Yeah.
The lesson
But it's
is
for the sake of content.
the lesson is if you're making a buck, then 15-year-olds should be able to say whatever they want to.
Yes.
That would be the lesson there. That's not a good idea. Anyway, so like I said, Top Superchatter gets a video message from me.
One
if
reply
you're interested
says
in that. Yeah.
that he's going to request a video on quantum physics.
Well, it's got to be something that I can talk about, you know. If you ask me about something I don't know anything about, I'll just briefly mention it, and then I'll pick the topic. How about that?
Yeah.
So anyway, like I said, other house cleaning stuff real quick. We're going to have a more or less normal week this week. And then next week I'm taking off entirely. Jason's going to be out of town for a dance competition, and I'm staying back to take care of all of the kids, so I'm not going to have time to stream, or at least stream very much. I won't be able to do regular content. I might do one or two random things if I can squeeze them in, but I don't want to promise anything. And then we've been teasing this. People are irritated with me for not coming out and telling you what this is yet, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet still, but we're going to be disrupting the normal programming on the channel for the foreseeable future after that. We're doing a 3-week-long project that's going to, I use the word project very loosely, series of streams that's going to replace the regular content we usually do. You'll still see Austin on some of these, you'll still see Jason on some of these, and I may do some of these solo, maybe bring a couple other people into, John, Robert, folks like that, but I haven't even talked to them yet, but that could happen. Anyway, but I wanted everybody to know that we won't have the Captain Logan show through that period. We won't have Superhero Rewind Commentary Project through that period. It'll just be the weeks leading up to Superman, and then we'll be more or less back to normal when that comes out, except through July we're going to have to review a lot of new movies on Mondays, and so we won't have as much in the way of comic reviews unless we fit those in other places. So we're going to get really busy here in July. So or here in the summer, I should say. Secret series of streams in July, and then starting in June, and then July, big new movies, and then August.
It's your birthday.
Well, my birthday's in August, but more importantly for you guys, the drop for the Superhero Rewind movie happens.
Oh, yeah.
And that'll be right at the end of the month, but we'll be kind of teasing that up to then, and then after that comes out, we'll throw special features at you and all kinds of fun things. So anyway, we're going to open right now like we usually do with a Patreon question, and we'll try to hit we only got 4 this last month. We're behind on this. We'll try to hit at least a couple of these, if not all of them, if we can tonight. But we're not going to put out a post for this month because we're not going to have another Captain Logan show this month. And guys, just trust me, most of you guys will be very happy with what we're going to be doing.
Oh yeah, you will be. You'll be very, very happy.
I think. Don't you think?
Yep.
We're not going to say anything else though.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't know if you had already said anything or if you.
No.
So I was like keeping quiet because I had no idea what you were.
No. All I'm doing is teasing that we are disrupting the regularly scheduled programming.
We're just gonna jump in the air for 3 weeks.
I am curious to see if anybody calls it though. If anybody has a guess as to what it is.
Yeah, if anyone has
and
a
if they
guess.
do, I'm still not gonna confirm it. But I am curious to see if anybody gets it. Thomas Lowe says, "I love your shirt, Cap." Thanks, man. Robert, oh no, the symbiote got Cap. Yeah, I was really excited to find the shirt again. I actually had one of these all through college that I wore all the time and wore it out. And when I first met Vince, a couple of weeks after that, when he and I started becoming friends and hanging out a lot, we both accidentally wore this shirt the same day to class. And everybody made fun of us, and we were walking around on campus. So Vince and I were in a playwriting course together. That's where we met, and we kept taking that class together. We did it a couple of times, and then he took it, I think, even a third time after I left. But Anyway, one day we both were wearing our respective Venom shirts, and it was the exact same shirt. And this girl walks up to us on campus and goes, "You guys are Twinkies." And I'll never forget that. Really makes me laugh. Okay, let's get a Patreon question, and then we'll start talking about some news roundup stuff. Again, we haven't had a regular Captain Logan show in a while, so there have been just a few little pieces of news that we'll want to hit. This will be kind of rapid-fire news stuff. Nothing gigantic and major that we're going to need to spend a whole lot of time on. I mean, I always say that. I tend to be long-winded. I can do half an hour on anything, but especially the stuff we've got today, I think it's going to be pretty lickety-split. So, Jason, go ahead and give us a Patreon question.
By the way, I think I saw that Venom shirt on some Old Geeks Not Nerds. I think you wore that a couple times.
Yeah, I would have. But yeah, these, I don't know, they start to kind of crack in the white.
Oh,
and so you want to turn it. If you ever buy this shirt, I recommend turning it inside out in the wash.
Yeah. Okay, the Amalgamation, with the announcement of the Big Two's crossover of Batman and Deadpool coming in September, which we will talk about.
Yep.
What other crossovers make sense to either do again or for the first time, and does anything come to mind for what-if ideas that are also this kind of crossover?
Well, I don't know what a what-if means in a crossover sense. That kind of breaks my brain, because the what-if idea is, here's the events, one thing changes. So at the point where you're crossing them over, it's already more of an Elseworlds kind of thing.
It's like, what if Amalgam?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just the conceit of these two multiverses exist in an even more expansive multiverse go. So the what if of it really is just, what if the DC universe was a universe in the Marvel multiverse, or vice versa, or they're two crossing multiverse. Like, that's all the what if of it is.
Or you can just do, like, what if, this villain was this hero's,
Yeah, but I'm such a purist when it comes to what if. I don't like those kinds of what if titles, because what if was always supposed to be about events. It's
right.
Like, what if, this character became the Punisher, or this character got, taken over by Venom, or whatever it is. Like, at the point where you're going, what if the Joker was a Spider-Man villain or whatever?
What if Bruce Wayne got a spider bite?
But anyway, I'm being a little bit semantical with this, as far as just the idea of, again, I wouldn't want to call it what if, but the idea of, asking those questions where you go, okay, all things being equal, let's say that DC and Marvel are in the same universe, or you have some kind of easy crossover conceit, you pit characters together that you wouldn't usually have together, or you say, like, Bruce Wayne is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., like we did in Amalgam. Like, some of those stories, or spin-off titles, I should say, that weren't, like, two characters coming together, sounded like what-ifs, right? It's like, what if Bruce Wayne became an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
That didn't make any sense.
That sort
I
of
never
thing.
got that.
Well, especially because you also had a Batman. You also had a
Dark Claw.
Dark Claw, yeah.
And you had Bruce Wayne, agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., so that didn't make any sense.
So anyway, let me try to answer both of these real briefly. The first thing that comes to mind, and I'm saying this is something that if those companies are playing nice now and are going to start crossing over again and doing these big events, they should have done this year, because it's right there. We had in the 90s, a Superman and Silver Surfer crossover. It's right there to do again.
Yeah. You
have Superman and Fantastic Four coming out the same month.
Mm-hmm.
They should have done that.
Yeah.
If they're doing this stuff, and we're supposed to get that new Amalgam level DC Marvel crossover thing this summer, I think, right? Or later in the year. I'm not sure when that's supposed to come out, but I think that's this year, and that means that they seem to be playing ball together with any characters they decide to cross. So they could have done that.
Yeah.
Is what it sounds like. By the way, this is kind of a surreal moment for me this year, because for years I said those are two companies that I don't see for the foreseeable future they're ever getting together and playing nice and doing that kind of stuff again. Mm-hmm. And as I've been saying a lot lately, I think they're both just kind of desperate.
Yeah.
They know that stuff will sell. They know it'll get a lot of readership. Batman and Deadpool will have a ridiculous number of pre-orders. You know the comic shops will get a big boon from that. And you know that the big DC Marvel crossover will be gigantic, and it will be hard to get that first issue. And I'll be right there with everybody else, but rolling my eyes at the same time. I hope that's good. The creators with the Deadpool Batman thing are really interesting choices, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Again, we're kind of behind, so I thought I would speak to that tonight. But anyway, as far as kind of like other sorts of crossovers, what's the first thing that jumps to your mind?
I thought Batman Deadpool was a very random thing to do, especially first.
And yet so obvious all at the same time. Because
I guess
you're basically taking... That's basically both of those companies going, what are... Because, yes, on paper, as far as story goes, it's like, what is even the story there? Why are those the characters you put together? It's just corporate cynicism.
Yeah.
Now, the creators they picked, it might end up being more than that, but the decision in the first place to put those things together just screams, well, DC is 80% Batman now, and Marvel, that's hyperbolic, but not by a lot, and Marvel is still lots of other things, but they still push Deadpool like crazy. They're doing an event right now, or a miniseries right now, and I'm assuming Cullen Bunn is writing it. I've not looked at all into it. I was looking at books coming out this week the other day, and they're doing Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe, like, what are they calling it? Like for the last time, or one more time? I think it's one more time. Deadpool kills the universe one more time.
They should have done...
I don't need that.
If they wanted to do Marvel DC again, they should have done Deadpool kills the DC universe.
See, that's right there. And that would not seem random. That would be freaking awesome.
That would be awesome.
That's what this Batman versus Deadpool crossover should just be. Deadpool kills the DC universe.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah.
Perfect. But what are characters you'd like to see crossed? And of course, we have done a lot of this in the past, but there are cool updates to things you could do.
Sure.
And I'll throw out a couple of those.
And I don't know exactly what they did in the 90s, because I read a little bit of that, but...
Sure.
I read, the big stuff and some of the Amalgam stuff. Superman Venom.
That also seems really random.
Yeah, but it would sell.
It would sell.
I'm thinking of something with Venom, because...
But we did Superman Predator, and it was good. Like, you could do something sort of like that. Would it be Superman just fighting Eddie Brock or somebody else in a Venom suit, or would it be like Venom tries to take over Superman? Would you do that whole thing?
That's what I would probably do. Or Superman and Wolverine.
Okay.
Because they both can't die.
Sure. Superman's a lot faster than Wolverine, though.
Yes, and taller.
That's true. I would like to see a smarter and longer Batman Daredevil. Because there was a one-shot, and it was back in the 90s, and it was okay, but that's an idea I'd love to see updated.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a million things you could do.
Yeah, Daredevil would work well with a couple things.
Let me throw out a really random one. Let me think for a second. What if you did... I'm just going to go off the beaten path, because it's fun. What if you did Moon Knight meets The Question?
Yeah. Sure.
Why or not? Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Or Suicide Squad versus Shield.
Yeah.
Like Amanda Waller.
Oh no.
Versus Nick Fury.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an idea. Miss Marvel and Batgirl could be fun. Yeah, I suppose. Okay. Anyway, moving right along. And then, of course, I've had lots of different alternative amalgam ideas for a long time, but that wasn't the question. We've answered that before. Let's go ahead and... Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. You've got other ideas. Go ahead.
The best amalgam idea that I've come up with I am not going to come up with a better amalgam idea than Lady Deathstroke.
Lady Deathstroke!
That is the best thing.
Have you said that on camera yet?
I don't know, but Lady Deathstroke is awesome.
I love it so much. Austin is in the comments. Hi, Austin. He says, we're at a point where Marvel would do a Godzilla versus Aunt May just for a boost in sales. Rob Liefeld 2025. And he's not wrong. They'll do anything. Yeah, I bet Rob Liefeld's not super excited about this Deadpool Batman business. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Well, and again, yeah, desperation. I mean, and I say that we're doing so many crossovers right now in general that it feels like everybody trying to just bolster the comics industry in general, and yet some of it's fun. And that's a thing that you can do in comics, real inexpensively if you can get these houses to work together and get to see these kind of pipe dreams would never happen in live action or even animation kinds of things. So, I say desperation, is Sonic in Justice League, is that a desperate thing? It's maybe desperate on IDW's side. Is it from DC's where it's like we really need Sonic to bolster our sales? I don't know.
Yeah, I still think that's the dumbest idea, and I haven't even read it.
And I read the first issue, and yeah, it is. It kind and it's just the most obvious way to do it. Maybe I'll talk about that at some point. But I've only read that first issue so far. But I got the variant with Knuckles as Flash, and it's pretty cool looking. So I don't know. So some of those crossover things end up being a guilty pleasure for me. It's just we've done so much of it that the novelty is kind of wasted on me now for a lot of it. And I haven't been keeping up with current very much. So some of this stuff will happen and I won't even know about it, or I'll read that it happened and I'm like, there's a time I would have rushed out and bought that, but I don't need that now. And now there'll be things that if you didn't have so much else coming out, I'd go, oh my god, that's awesome, I gotta have that. And now I'm just like, yep. Of course we're doing that, Power Rangers Godzilla. I'm so shocked.
Yep. Ghost Rider and Rorschach.
Oh, that's interesting. You're just putting the most random possible things together.
I'm trying to think of the most random things.
I do think the industry is desperate enough to start crossing Watchmen with Marvel things, though. I think that will absolutely happen.
That could happen.
Who would we pit Dr. Manhattan? Dr. Manhattan versus Silver Surfer. There you go.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go. You have, the Avengers show up to fight the giant squid creature just to find out that it's a fake.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into our lead-in topic, shall we? We've got news, sort of, from... This is a couple weeks old now, about the new Avengers movies, and it's just that they're being delayed. So instead of coming out in the summers of 2026 and 2027, Doomsday and Secret Wars, respectively, are coming out in around Christmas 2026 and 2027, which immediately felt super funky to me just because these things have most of the time been big summer events. And I realize the summer blockbuster doesn't mean what it used to, but I think especially of Avengers movies as big summer tentpole things. It's going to be really weird to go to a huge... Ostensibly, we'll see how well they sell and how much hype they can generate. With the Russo brothers, with 700 actors in a movie, with the likelihood of a soft reboot with Secret Wars. But it will be really weird to be driving in your car to the movie theater for this giant, important Avengers event, and there's Christmas lights, and you're dealing with traction with the snow.
Yeah.
But there's some speculation, of course, as to why exactly they're doing this. Mm-hmm. The initial assumption I would make in not, throwing out anything remotely conspiratorial is just that they're biting off more than they can chew, and there's no way they're going to get it done in time. It's just too big of it is just too massive of an undertaking, and so they needed to back it off. There could be concerns with, and I haven't looked at what exactly it would have been up against. They might have been concerned with certain other things coming out that summer. I'm not sure.
Doom Messiah.
But
for Doomsday, but.
Yeah, but that got moved back to December.
Oh, did it really?
Or that is... So, I think right now, and somebody tell me if I'm wrong about this, I think they're supposed to be sitting on the same date, and one of those is going to have to blink.
I thought they were supposed to be sitting on the same date, and then they...
Maybe so.
Pushed it back. I thought that's what it was, but I didn't remember.
Maybe so. Again, it's been a little while. This news is several days old at this point. But anyway, the other big question with this. So I don't know. Like, are you immediately super disappointed with this, Jason, or can you live without this movie for a while? Like, first of all, is it weird to you that it's Christmas, and second of all, are you excited enough about this that it's a bummer to you that it's being put off?
I think it's kind of weird that it's Christmas. I will say, like, oh yeah, I'm going to see Avengers Doomsday on Christmas, yeah, or around Christmas. But I've said this before. I don't care about delays at all. I've never cared about delays.
You'll see it when you see it.
It gives them more time to make it, and if they have more time to make it, then it's better.
Because this was feeling really rushed.
Yeah.
And really, every MCU project for a long time has kind of felt that way, where it's like, we were talking about that a while back with how much more lead time Superman had than a lot of these Marvel projects. And so if they're actually taking their time with it more, I mean, it's nice that it got delayed before they've shot very much, so it's not like, oh, there's a bunch of reshoots. Like, they're shooting.
Yeah.
So you don't have to assume that the quality will suffer because of this. The quality can only be improved by that delay, I would think. So that's good. I'm going to make a prediction. Well, I can't say prediction because I can't know what it would have made in the summer. But I imagine this actually... So when I say it's weird, to put it in Christmas time, just the aesthetic of it, or just the feel of it is weird to me. I don't think it's necessarily weird, though, from a business perspective with where they're at right now. If this was Phase 3 and they put this movie at Christmas, I'd be like, I don't know about that, guys. This could be the smartest move they're making with the way their movies have gone this year. Brave New World was a gigantic flop. Thunderbolts didn't do real well. We liked it, but it was
terribly.
It tanked.
Yeah.
It did just what I thought it would at the box office, but it was a way better movie than I thought it would be. I thought it would tank because it wasn't great and nobody cared. It tanked because nobody cared.
Yeah.
And Brave New World didn't help it.
And they just spend too much money on movies.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yep, that movie didn't need to cost
$100 million is now a flop, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. And then, well, but I mean, these things usually cost at least that much. It's when they bloat it to 2 or 3 that it's insane. Like, to be fair, your average Marvel movie, especially with some of the actors they get and with how big of a special effects extravaganza it is, I get why most of those would be $100 million.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand $300 million.
But I think Thunderbolts was 2.
Yeah, and you saw that movie.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
I have no
idea. And again, it looks good.
Oh yeah.
But it looks like a smaller project than some of their other projects. Why did it have to be $200 million?
And they did a lot more practical stuff.
Yeah.
And like they didn't seem to spend that much money on the CGI.
Yeah, these two things can be true equally.
Yeah.
It can look great and not have to cost that much. So anyway, and then Fantastic Four is not projected to do the numbers, of course, that Marvel was hoping it would. Marvel has really been treating this like this is the big ticket for the foreseeable future anyway, and I don't think they're going to get a return, the return on that investment that they were hoping for. Maybe it's hard to say, but people do not seem excited about it the way they thought they might, the way they were hoping, and I think and we've talked about this, it's a little bit of a tall order in the first place because of the history that franchise has had. We've talked about this, where it's like, already Fantastic Four is a hard sell. I think they've done the best they can with the marketing of it, with what they have. It is the most curious and unusual, and, like, honest to God, has a vision-looking project they've had in a while. Retroactively, I guess you can say that about Thunderbolts now, but I'm only saying that now because I liked it. But anyway, it doesn't seem like that's going to be their savior. So the point I'm making is, after. And also, let me say, Fantastic Four might have had a shot at doing better than it's looking like it might if those other two movies hadn't come out this year. But having said all of that, you remember how after Endgame I said Marvel really needs to take a break? Mm-hmm. They're kind of in the position now where they're having to take a break. Mm-hmm. And I think this could only be good for them. Yep. It's now going to be a year and a half before that comes out. And there is almost, or maybe nothing in between. Mm-hmm. Which means you're going to have, like, a couple of Disney Plus shows. But forgetting that, just big screen movies, they're actually going to give us the time to build anticipation and care again. Yep. They got to make a good product. That goes without saying. Because what could happen is, if it looks terrible to everyone, it'll just be, oh yeah, that MCU thing, I guess it's back, and I'm not going to go see that. I've completely lost interest. But if it looks like a must-see just banger of a cosmic action movie, you'll go, God, where has this been for the last year and a half? I've missed it so much, right? And so that could be really, really good for them. The only movie they have a chance at getting out before that is Spider-Man 4, is Brand New Day. But I don't think that's even filming yet.
I thought that was supposed to be after Doomsday. Between?
So, this is what I'm confused about. I'm seeing conflicting things about this, and somebody tell me in the comments if you've... Because I just did a little bit of research right before the show, and I cannot figure this out. It looks like Marvel hasn't officially changed the date for it yet, where it's still 2026. But it's not going to come out next year, I wouldn't think. Like, they'd have to really rush it to make that happen. Mm-hmm. And I found this article, let me see here. Okay, so, like, Marvel's official website still has it listed as July 31st, 2026.
Which means that now it'll be before and not after.
Yeah. Well, and what I've read is that the story is supposed to take place before that movie. So even if it comes after Doomsday, it'll still take place before it.
Yeah.
So that's whatever.
But they gotta start shooting, like, now. Like,
yeah. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And then I found this article, and a grain of salt, as we always say with Screen Rant, but I found this article on Screen Rant that claimed that they have nothing in production in between, and the only thing they're working on at all is Doomsday.
Okay, I don't know.
And so it looks like, and again, tell me if I'm missing something in the comments, guys, because some of you guys admittedly keep up with this stuff better than I do. Mm-hmm. But there is a decent chance that we take a break from MCU for a year and a half.
Yeah. Joel Davis put in a $2 super chat. Spider-Man 4 is said to be before Doomsday.
Right. But I'm wondering if it actually comes out before that now. Mm-hmm.
We'll
if they haven't, like if they're not even close to ready to film yet.
Yeah.
Now, they could just, like, really, really rush that. But again, grain of salt with Screen Rant. But I was really surprised when they said that. We're like, and nothing else is, and they didn't even mention Spider-Man. So maybe whoever wrote that article just doesn't know what the hell he's talking about.
The first thing that we were talking about, the first article that we were looking at did say things about Spider-Man. So,
Executive Judge is a name I don't recognize. Welcome, hi there. They still have a July slot for 2027.
I thought they got rid of that.
Yeah, so that was the other thing I wanted to bring up with this is, and this is that Screen Rant article, Disney is removing 3 release dates from the upcoming slate, and they're not release dates for movies that had titles attached. So we didn't know what they were in the first place. They were just placeholder dates that were supposed to be for Marvel movies, and apparently a couple of them have just been changed now to generically something Disney, but not necessarily Marvel. This says the February 13, 2026 date has now been removed from Disney's release schedule, apparently entirely, while the Marvel project slated for November 6th, and November 6th, 2026, November 5th, 2027 have been turned into untitled Disney movies. Now, it's possible that they changed their mind with that and those untitled Disney movies are still Marvel movies, but I don't know why they would make the distinction like that if they weren't thinking, yeah, we're not going to be ready with anything by then, which makes you wonder if there's any chance Spider-Man happens.
Yeah.
Before then, right? Because now we don't have any date on the books that says for sure it's a Marvel movie. Am I right?
Yeah, besides Spider-Man. Because we still have that.
We still have that on their website?
Right.
But I don't know if we're to take that seriously right now. It's a question. So I don't have much more to say about that except that's just further evidence that they're putting all their eggs in the Avengers basket, and that Feige was serious when he recently made a big deal. And he said this before, but there was a different kind of tone to it, that the quality over quantity thing, and we've been a little overzealous, and it's time to kind of slow down and take our time on things a little bit. One thing I wanted to suggest too is, and I don't want to overthink this, of course, because Superman's not even out yet, but they might be looking at the competition and going, if we're not careful, James Gunn, who we made a whole franchise with and we know how he operates, is going to go over there and just clean our clocks. Mm-hmm. And so they're not going to want to be in a place where we're all just thinking about DC and don't care about Marvel anymore. But at the same time, they don't want to put out really, really subpar, rushed, formulaic, cookie-cutter material. Mm-hmm. While James Gunn's over there, potentially, really innovating, or at least putting out a lot of different-looking projects for different audiences, while they're just kind of shoveling out more of the same.
You don't want to be Marvel and Sony and not even have not even have Spider-Man filming yet, while James Gunn is over here with Supergirl done. And Joel Davis put in another $2 super chat.
Yeah,
remember,
thanks,
Spider-Man is Sony. They need a movie out.
Well, that's a good point too.
Maybe that's why they didn't put that in that article, because it's Sony and not Marvel, but it's still MCU.
Yeah,
so
but it's still in the MCU.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see what ends up happening with Doomsday, and if that's going to be as big of a deal as they really need it to be. More and more, it's just sounding like it's going to be a gigantic bloated mess. I hope it's not.
Yeah.
But I saw something the other day about Taskmaster being in it, and I'm like, why would you do that? She gonna show up for 5 seconds to just die again? I don't understand that. Okay, what are people saying in the comments real quick, Jason? Just to throw two or three opinions out that people are voicing, and then we'll get to some other little articles here in the first hour.
All right, we have one reply with, if Brand New Day makes its release date, its CGI will be something hard to look at.
Yeah, I'm a little scared about that. They need to take their time with it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's possible that it could come out just after that movie and look good, January, February. I wouldn't put it out in January, but February, March.
Yeah.
But summer of next year.
Yeah. And I will say, with Doomsday, Christmas is also smart because you sell more toys.
Yeah. Yeah, if kids are still playing with Marvel toys.
Yeah.
I'm really unsure these days of how much interest there is from a younger demographic in any of this stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I cannot tell. And of course, there's been a lot of doom and gloom lately with the toy industry in general, that toys just aren't for kids anymore. Kids don't play with toys because their parents just hand them tablets and that's all they do all day. And it's more complicated than that. That is a problem. It's not every kid. And so the question is just the percentages. It's and for kids that get to a place maybe a little later, where they're more into video games, or they are, in my mind, very sadly, and this is very dystopian, just looking at a screen and kind of living in another reality all day, and their parents don't care. I hate to be negative, but I don't like seeing that. It bothers me. There's the question of like what age that happens, you know, because not every parent is that irresponsible with it.
Yeah.
Walmart right now has a line of toys of figures for the new Superman movie at $8, which I really respect. They've got a whole line of stuff that's actually for little kids and is affordable and looks like the kind of stuff I would have loved when I was a kid. So that's very exciting. And they have this really cool... Oh, they've been putting out commercials to look like 90s toy commercials. Have you seen these?
No.
And they're super cool. And there's one that's this big creature that I think has been in the trailers maybe, that's going to be a big set piece in that movie. And the set comes with this giant creature and Superman, and his chest bursts open, like Superman like plows into his chest and it bursts open, and there's like slime it comes with that comes out of the chest. Pretty cool.
Robert Wild, Thunderbolts following up Cat 4 was really what hurt that movie. If that's the next Marvel movie just a few months after Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm very confident it would have been a bigger hit.
I'm confident it would have done better. I don't think any of us can tell how much better. You know, it's hard to say. Because you do have people that left Deadpool and Wolverine and went, oh, the MCU is back, baby. And then you also had plenty of people that were smarter than that said, this is not necessarily indicative of the direction this company is going. Right? Like, Guardians 3 didn't really help whatever came out right after that. I don't remember what the next movie was after Guardians 3. Yeah, well, there you go. A case in point there. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Robert is right that it would have done better. But it might have only broken even. I don't know that it would have been a hit.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. I think that was a tall order, too. You know, I said... I mean, all three of these things are tall orders, if you think about it. Like it doesn't help that Brave New World was bad, and Fantastic Four needs to be great to get that word of mouth going.
Yes.
But Captain America 4 is a hard sell because Falcon is just not obviously as popular as the original Captain America. So like that's already kind of and people didn't like his TV show. So, like, that doesn't help, right? That's a hard sell. Thunderbolts is a team of a bunch of misfit characters in things that people may not have even bothered seeing. And, like, mostly nobody's favorite character besides maybe Bucky. That's a hard sell. Now, that's the kind of hard sell that if you make a movie that's as great as they made, you should take that risk. And I appreciate that they did. Yeah. It's just unfortunate that it didn't work out. It's kind of like Eternals, where... And I don't like that movie as well as I did when it came out. But, like,
I haven't gotten back to it.
The main issue with that movie wasn't, it's a bunch of people nobody cares about. It was, well, actually, let me backtrack for a second. And I guess what I mean is, like, it was an okay movie. I think the reason it didn't sell was just, it was long, and it was a bunch of people nobody's heard of.
Yeah.
Well, and it didn't have like the kid. It didn't have the kid appeal that something like Guardians would.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, it took me a minute to get my thoughts together there, but that's what I'm getting at with that. And then Fantastic Four is a hard sell because it's Fantastic Four, and it just hasn't worked in the past for people. Okay, anything else people are talking about that you want to hit real quick, or should we?
No, let's just keep going.
Okay, let's go ahead and hit these other small articles. Mike Flanagan, this is from Gizmodo.com. Mike Flanagan teases the Batman animated series inspiration behind the Clayface movie. So he is saying that the thing that really made him want to make that movie is Feet of Clay, is nice. The 2-part animated series episode. And that's kind of what I was hoping.
Yeah.
He says, I mean, that is the perfect story, Feet of Clay, Ron Perlman to me, that's it. The two-parter, that two-parter knocked me out. The short answer is that is absolutely what inspired my script. That is the world I wanted to live in, which immediately makes me go, that's going to be a pretty CG-heavy movie. Because I thought that, and I could be wrong about that, but I thought his Clayface was maybe not gonna be so like grand and amorphous and like constantly changing
People
and stuff.
thought it was gonna be like 40s Clayface.
Yeah, because isn't it supposed to be kind of a smaller budget movie?
Yeah.
Like that sounds like a special effects extravaganza, unless he's finding a way to tell more or less that story without doing a big special effects thing with it.
Whoever the director, I don't remember.
Well, Mike Flanagan.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know what. Oh, okay.
I don't remember who's.
I guess that's not the director. Yeah, I should have looked closer at this before I pulled this up. I forgot about this, and right before the show I pulled it. But anyway, I don't know what they're doing with Clayface. I'm not directing it, and that filmmaker will. I can't remember the name of that director. Austin keeps talking about him, and I just looked that up real quick because I just don't remember who that is. I know they're doing work on the script. I'm doing other things now. I really hope it remains true to the spirit of what I wanted it to be. Yeah, so he's just the writer, but it's not my movie, so I'll be in the audience with you, anxious to see how it comes out.
James
so,
Watkins.
Okay, so remind me what else he's done. Again, people told me, I just can't remember.
Speak No Evil. I don't know any of these.
Gone. Woman in Black. That's that guy. That's right. Okay. That makes sense. But anyway, so all of that with a grain of salt then, because that writer was inspired by Feet of Clay doesn't mean it's going to look anything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right. Like, a lot of things could change. But I did think that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And could be really exciting. So, more news about things being delayed or not happening. Look, here's Slash Film. The real reason Keanu Reeves' Constantine 2 is taking so long. So, this movie is probably never going to come out.
No, there's no way.
And, well, because for a while it looked like it was getting kind of fast-tracked and it was finally going to happen. And Keanu Reeves just has too much integrity to make a what he's calling like MCU light kind of movie. He's like, we don't want to just rip them off and do the same thing they're doing over there. Mm-hmm. And he's read apparently multiple attempts at a script and hasn't liked any of them. And I guess he's got script approval because the movie is not going ahead because he doesn't like what he's reading. And he needs it to be smaller and smarter and do something, that's not just obvious, boring standard superhero thing. Who is this quote from? Because I read this, but is it Peter Stormare that wrote this? Mm-hmm. Peter Stormare pointed out in his direct interview that big studios have a tendency to beef up sequels even if it's not warranted. Yeah, and so it's like, we got to go bigger just for the sake of being bigger. He says, I think Keanu says, I've done John Wick. This movie is spiritual. It's about demons and regular people, and I wanted to keep it that way. And we talked about that. That suggests that whatever was in that script was just action set piece after action set piece, giant monster he's fighting. If you go back and watch Constantine, there's action scenes, but it's not like giant monsters in the middle of the city kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's that scene toward the end where he is picking off demons possessing people that kind of looks like a video game, but that's not the whole movie.
Yeah.
And like, he's got that little battle with the giant bug creature, but it's not, on the highway. It's not very much of that. Mm-hmm. So he's right. Now, I'm not saying that's a like super deep character driven movie or anything.
But the sequel could be.
There's still, yeah.
Like there's a...
Yeah, but also it could be the same sort of schlock that was.
Yeah.
it could still be a little smaller, a little more intimate here and there, kind of schlock.
But I think it's fine that he's wanting something a little more serious, or at least not serious, but like different.
Yeah, but it also sounds like he wants it to be true enough to the original.
Sure.
I want to do God coming down exactly the same way, but in a black suit and looking more or less like Lucifer from the first one. I'm 12 years older, so it's going to be hard to, completely imitate the first movie, but I think from Keanu, he wants to do a sequel that is very close to the first one. The thing that I'm most confused about from that quote is how Peter Stormare is only 12 years older than when he made a movie 20 years ago.
Yeah, I don't
understand that.
Was that 8 years ago?
Yeah, is this a really old quote? Has Keanu Reeves been turning down scripts since like 2000? I don't know, 15?
Yeah.
12? But anyway, no, I don't think that's. I think Peter Stormare would be surprised to know that he made that movie in 2005.
Yeah, I think.
But anyway, I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yep.
And I hope it doesn't if that's what the scripts look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really happy to know that Keanu Reeves is saying no to that.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Okay, moving right along. So here is information about the Batman versus Deadpool comic. So in the long-held tradition of crossovers between Marvel and DC, and a lot of other companies do this too. Dynamite and DC did this with the Batman Shadow crossover too, where you take where one company does their own version, and then the other company does their own version, and they don't talk to each other. So you got Batman Deadpool by Grant Morrison, Greg Capullo, Dan Mora, and Zeb Wells. So on the DC side, we're getting, and this is almost certain to be the better of them, but we'll see what happens. On the DC side, we get Morrison of all people. Like, you give him that kind of green light, what is going to happen? That it's just going to be bat stuff insane.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison doing Deadpool with Batman. I did not care about this until I read Morrison was doing it, and then I went, okay, I'm there for that. With Capullo drawing, like that by itself is enough to get me in the door. Just to see Capullo drawing Morrison, that's pretty cool. And then Zeb Wells is writing the Marvel side with Dan Mora, nice. And I love Mora.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Zeb Wells fan. So
I feel like
one of these things is not like the others.
Yeah.
You've got 4 creators, and one of the 4 is not.
So the Marvel one's gonna look awesome, but
they're both gonna look awesome.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Capullo and Mora. It's also just so cool to me. This goes without saying at this point that Mora is thought of as the kind of powerhouse that he's thought of now. Mm-hmm. Like, he's really taken his place in the upper echelon now. And he ends up doing a lot of these novel, gimmicky kinds of books, but he's so good at them.
Yeah.
And he's gotten to draw other things that aren't that, like Klaus and stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's nuts that a guy like that makes his name on Power Rangers of all things, mm-hmm. and then gets these huge high-profile things.
Yeah.
Where now he's going up against, not that they're in competition, but he's going up against Capullo.
Yeah.
That's so cool for him.
Yeah.
And a guy that barely speaks English.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I like, maybe he speaks English better now than the last time I heard him give an interview, but he used to always like to give his interviews in Spanish. I love Dan Mora, so I will of course be there for that too. But yeah, I didn't care about this. till I found out who was doing it. This is Greg Capullo. Am I dreaming this crossover is likely to be the high point of my career? That sounds like you're overselling things there, Greg Capullo. Maybe that's just because he's excited to work with Morrison, though. And I've had a great career. Some of my earliest work many years ago was on X-Force, so Deadpool and I go way back. More recently, I spent 10 years plus drawing Batman at DC. We know that. The idea that I get to do a crossover event with Deadpool and Batman, if I'm dreaming, please don't wake me. That's hilarious. I wonder if he's actually that excited about it. I'm sure he's somewhat excited about it, but, you know, it's a selling things quote.
Oh, so is Dan Mora doing the DC one or the Marvel one?
The way that was listed, I assumed that Mora was doing the Marvel one.
But
am I wrong?
Yeah, no, it's gonna be Morrison and Dan Mora.
Oh, okay.
The DC one.
Well, that is equally exciting to me, though. Like, getting to see either of those guys... Sorry, I should have looked further down. Getting to see either of those guys work with Morrison is exciting to me.
Because, I mean, if they both did those covers, I was like, well, one of those looks more like Mora.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't looking at that. Okay, I'm an idiot. It's fine.
No.
I don't know why that title lists them like that, then.
Yeah, no, that's...
I guess it's just because those are the writers and these are the artists. That's why they did that. I wasn't thinking. But I wouldn't...
That's not even...
Oh, wait, no, it's not that way either. Why did they do it like that? Anyway, whatever. But yes, I didn't think I would care about that, and I will definitely be picking that up now. How much time have we got here?
Oh, and how do you feel about that Batman logo?
About the Batman logo?
Yeah, because that's different.
Oh, yeah. And since they're going to be at the different companies, it might have been cool if they went with totally different logos.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But yeah, that is odd. Is that a Batman logo, because I'm just a little bit out of the loop, is that a Batman logo that DC's been using somewhat?
No, that's completely new.
Or is it just brand spanking new?
That's new.
Yeah, I don't love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't have super strong opinions about it.
No, me neither, but...
Yeah, it's odd.
I just noticed that's new.
I brought this up on stream last night, or a couple days ago, but I'll just mention real briefly before we go to break, that we lost Peter David this last week.
Really?
Did you not know about this?
No.
Yeah, he's been having massive health problems for a long time now. His family had to raise money for him to try to pay his medical bills, and he finally succumbed to his illness this last week. Yeah, he was 68.
Wow.
And really super sad. Of course, I'm a big fan of Peter David for it's kind of surreal talking about this that he's not with us anymore. I am a fan of Spider-Man 2099. That's one of my favorite Spider-Man things, and I like a lot of his Star Trek stuff. He wrote some of the best Star Trek novels, and he was probably the most well known and most well appreciated of Star Trek novelists, I would say, or at least of his day. There were a couple before him that are definitely up there, but for New Frontier, but also for Imzadi and a number of other Star Trek series and solo titles, and then of course his Hulk run remains the seminal Hulk run. We're in tribute to Peter David this Friday going to be doing the Superhero Rewind commentary on the '03 Hulk movie, which is looking at his stuff pretty massively. So that's kind of what we're doing in tribute for him. I thought I was gonna get an interview with him a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I had an in. I had a friend that knew him that tried to get that put together, and it might have just been because he was having health issues, or maybe he just wasn't interviewing in general right then. But I ultimately was not able to make that happen. But which is too bad. I would have loved to have talked to him. But
yeah.
One reply, it's just a logo at the end of the day. Yeah, exactly. Also, one reply, sad how comic writers still get treated like Bill Finger, R.I.P. Mr. David. Yeah, a lot of you guys will already know about that, but Peter David got shafted in lots of different ways and by various publishers and people in the industry, and should have been a bigger name than he was, especially as prolific and just wonderful of a writer as he was. But I had that with Norman Brayfogle too, where I was like, how do people not know him better than they do? But anyway, sour note to go to break on, but we're going to go ahead and go to break, and then we're going to come back with Jason's segment for this week. You guys throw in some questions if there's something you'd like us to talk about for Q&A in the second half. And once again, Top Super Chatter tonight gets a exclusive video message from me on whatever topic you'd like me to ramble about. And we just have a couple super chats right now. There's one $5 one, Jason, that we'll want to make sure and do in the second half.
Yep. We'll do that in the second
but
half.
throw those in if you're so inclined, and we will see you in just a couple minutes, folks. All right, everybody, we're back. It's time for the second half of tonight's Captain Logan show. One more thing I wanted to mention before we get to Jason's segment. Somebody brought this up in the comments, and I actually had this up here but hadn't gotten to it yet. look, we've got a new ridiculous popcorn bucket for Fantastic Four, and it's one of the only ones of these I would consider buying myself, Jason, because I'm such a gigantic Galactus fan. But they did just what they should have. Precisely the correct thing with this. Look at that Galactus head. You can put your popcorn in the top of Galactus's head. I should also say, just in general, more and more, I'm really loving the design for Galactus. He just looks correct. There was a lot of worry at the start that he was going to be just black, that he wasn't gonna have any purple in him, or the purple was gonna be really subdued. And it's maybe a somewhat more muted color scheme than you might want, or than you would have in a comic book. But I mean, I don't know, it's pretty purple.
Yeah, but Galactus.
There's also lighting stuff too.
Galactus
It's like
is so bright in the comics.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
It like hurts your eyes.
Is that even going to translate? You know, and I've also seen Galactus with a more muted color scheme in comics too. But anyway, which does not necessarily mean you want to do it just because it's been done that way a couple times.
I don't mean every artist makes Galactus that.
I'm just saying that because people keep using that argument that I don't like with Shia LaBeouf, Silver Surfer, going, well, it was in a comic, so it's true to comics. Like, I don't like that. But I'm just saying that sometimes he's colored a little bit more muted, and it has looked great before, so that's cool. But I guess I appreciate that this is actually a popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these popcorn buckets, they are ostensibly buckets, but it's like, where does popcorn go? Or you could get like 5 kernels in it, and it's just a dumb, silly, expensive novelty item. And this is still that like too. I mean, look at that. I don't know. You gotta wonder how much popcorn you can really put in his head.
Also, you gotta be careful, because that looks kind of sharp.
I'm also...
You're just reaching out. Ow!
And this is how novel these things have been. I'm also assuming that his eyes glow.
Yeah.
It's probably, you probably put batteries in it and his eyes glow. A lot of these have been battery powered in some way. There is a bat signal one that is. Here, let's see if we can play whatever this is on this Reddit post. Let's take a look at this. Are you ready? Is it gonna let me play it? That's not working. I'm not sure what that video was supposed to be. I just thought there would be maybe an amusing advertisement for that popcorn bucket, but it didn't work out. I'll look at it later anyway. I'll show you this real quick since I accidentally flashed it. But last night, I just want to mention this briefly because it made me laugh. Nobody's going to care about this, or very few people are going to care about this. But last night, Austin and I reviewed the first volume of the new Space Ghost book from Dynamite, and somebody left a super chat and asked us about other properties we want to see that kind of treatment with, the more serious reimagining of a Saturday morning cartoon show. And I didn't really throw out anything. We ended up just kind of moving on. But the big point I made with that was so much of that has happened or is starting to happen now that I'm running out of ideas for other things. Like, it seems like everything is getting that treatment. And like Captain Planet is getting it now. That was my big answer for the longest time. Now, one I meant to say last night that I missed was SWAT Cats. And I thought, maybe that's too obscure. Not enough people will remember that for it to make any sense to try to make that, even over Captain Planet, because that was at least huge when it was on. But IDW, desperate now for IP, publishing Street Sharks.
Yeah.
So yet another Ninja Turtles ripoff from the early to mid 90s, to the point where there were 4 of them. A totally jawsome comeback, because we were all about the puns. You know, the Turtles were gonna raise some shell, and the Street Sharks were jawsome. But anyway, so there's another one.
Yeah.
And
wow.
That I'm probably not gonna read, or I mean, I might take a look at it in digital. I don't think I'm gonna buy an issue of that.
Street Shark.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, maybe.
Anyway, if like after those go into trade, it's on Hoopla, the library app and I can take a look at it for free, I might do that. But I'm probably not going to buy that. Anyway, Jason, are you ready for your segment?
I am. Are you ready for my segment?
No, I'm
That's
not.
the question.
I want to reply, the theme song is still a banger. Yes, I do remember that having a great intro.
So, we haven't done we haven't done this in a while. And we're not going to have a Captain Logan show for a while because of the secret thing.
I know, isn't that sad?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll try to sneak one in if major news happens.
So,
You're going to get cool stuff, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if cool is even the way to put it.
No. Well, you'll get cool stuff from you. Like, you will provide cool stuff.
I see. Okay, I will do my level best. Yes.
Maybe the thing that you're doing won't be super cool.
We don't want to give too much away. Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
we're going to drop little hints here and there.
Like that. Okay, so we're going to do some superhero trivia for you.
Great.
We haven't done a superhero trivia one. We've done a
superhero movie.
Well,
didn't we do
I've never done
one?
an actual just movie one.
Oh, okay.
I've done 2 superhero trivia ones. I've done a video game one, and I've done a TMBG one.
Yeah, you just okay. I'm confused.
But I haven't done a superhero one in a while.
Okay, I thought you just said you've never done a superhero one.
No, I said I haven't done it in a while.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you. I'm with you now.
I'm coming back with the superhero one. So there are only 10 questions.
Oh yeah, because you did one that had some comic things in it. And
yeah.
Okay.
So there are 10 questions this time.
I'm not feeling the sharpest today, but I will do my level best.
Number 1. Are you ready?
Yes.
Number 1.
As ready as I will ever. Okay, hold on. Before you do this.
Yes.
I'm gonna, as I always do.
Oh yeah, you got it.
And you guys will just have to take my word for this, and you can take Jason's word for it. I have minimized the window.
Yeah, he's minimized the window
with the live chat, so
with the minus button.
With the live chat, so that I don't see responses if anybody wants to make guesses at this trivia. So if you want to play at home, feel free to leave your answers. That's okay. I will not be looking at them, and I won't. And if you want to make fun of me, that's okay too. And I won't bring up. I'll cry later, but I'm not going to bring up the chat again until we're finished with this quiz. So 10 questions, and I will try not to crash and burn.
Number 1.
Here we go.
Name 3 video games for the Sega Genesis based on a superhero property.
Okay. Well, I can do. And I can make them all Spider-Man, too. Can I make them all Spider-Man?
You could.
Okay, so I'll do Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man and Venom Separation Anxiety, and Spider-Man and X-Men.
There you go. 3 Spider-Man ones. All right, number 2. What is the name of the first Batman TAS episode with Barbara Gordon as Batgirl?
Wow. I'm pretty sure it's just Batgirl, is it not? It's not. Oh, wait, with Barbara Gordon as Batgirl? Because there's a two-parter.
Two-parter where she becomes Batgirl, but what's the name of that?
It's not called Batgirl? For a second, I thought it was just called Batgirl. What's cool is the Batman cartoon. Do you know what they did with it? So the Batman does Batgirl before Robin. And I'm pretty sure they called it Batgirl Begins. I think that's true. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think I'm right about that. Okay. And as soon as you say it, I'm going to be like, oh, yes, of course, that's right. But again, I'm a little rusty. It's been a while. I did watch some animated series last night, though.
Oh,
but it wasn't this.
It wasn't that, yeah.
Well, a couple nights ago.
Known that.
Or was it? No, it was last night. Yeah, your mom and I sat down and watched If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich?
Oh.
The first Riddler episode.
Yeah.
With the hand of fate.
I should have asked you that.
You should have asked me that. I'm going to think for a second. Boy, I should know that. All right, what is it?
It is Shadow of the Bat.
Is that what that's called?
Yes.
I didn't remember that.
Yep.
Crazy. It's just been too long.
Okay.
Like I've done a commentary on that, but it's been too long.
Number 3, and it's good. Number 3, what is the name of the Red Ranger in Power Rangers Lost Galaxy?
Leo? Do I have to know his last name?
Do you know his last name?
What's coming to mind is Corbin.
Close.
What is it?
Corbett.
Okay.
Leo Corbett. Yep.
Little Red Corvette.
Question 4. The TV show Birds of Prey used the song My Remedy for its theme song when it was released on video, but during its original airing, it had a different theme song. What was the name of this song?
You know what? I was going to kick you if you tried to make me tell you what the disc song was, because I would not have been able to tell you that. And that song sucks.
It's terrible.
It's not. Well, it at least sucks for that show.
For a
it's
theme song, it's really bad.
It's not right. But that song is by Amy Allen, and it's called Revolution.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Number 5. What was the last...
That was a softball for me.
Yeah,
you knew I'd know that. Yeah. I really appreciate that.
Number 5. What was the last superhero movie released on VHS?
That is an awesome question. I love that. What's annoying about it is I know what and I've talked about this on the channel before, but I know what the absolute last VHS movie was, and it was a movie based on a comic book, but not a superhero movie, and that is History of Violence. Mm-hmm. Do you know that?
Yes, I do know that.
But the last and that would have been what, 04 or 05? Or is it even a little bit earlier than that?
I'm not.
You're not going to tell me?
I'm not going to tell you. I mean, I could tell you.
So, I think it's got to be later than, like, X2 and stuff like that. It's not gonna be that. It could be... Let me think for a second. Just the smirk on your face makes me think it must be a bad one.
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you if it's a bad one or not.
What I'm trying to remember is if Catwoman had a VHS release, because I don't think I've ever seen a VHS Catwoman. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure. Which means it could be an 03 movie. Mm. An 03 movie could be potentially the last superhero movie on VHS, but I would think it would be a little later than that. Okay, I'm gonna throw out a guess.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say Son of the Mask.
It's not Son of the Mask.
Okay. All right, what is it?
It is Fantastic Four.
The Tim Story Fantastic Four.
2005.
Yeah, but the Tim Story Fantastic Four. So not Rise of the Surfer, but just Fantastic Four. So it is an 05 movie.
It is 05.
Okay.
History of Violence is 06.
See, I thought that was 05.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 06.
Okay.
But
that was a great question, and now that you've asked me that, I will never forget it.
Yeah.
That one will stick with me, and I will make other people answer that. That's a great question.
Number 6.
What number are we on? Okay. How many have I missed? 2 or 3?
You've missed 1.
No, I missed more than 1.
2.
Because I just missed that one, yeah.
Yep. Okay, number 6. Who were the 4 replacements for Superman in Reign of the Supermen?
Why would you softball me like that with this? If I don't know that, I should quit my job. Oh no, I'm not gonna think. No, it's Eradicator. That's the question you're asking, right? Yep. Is the 4 Superman? Okay, Eradicator and Steel and Cyborg Superman and Superboy.
Okay, so you did it in the exact same order as I have it on the answers.
That's awesome.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. Did I have to say John Henry Irons?
No.
I'm sorry. Did I have to say
the last son of Krypton?
Eradicator, the last son of Krypton. Did I have to say Hank Henshaw?
So
did I have to say Connor Kent?
Yes. Well, now you've said it also. Number 7.
Just want to make sure I get all the points.
In what issue did the X-Men change to the Uncanny X-Men?
Wow, that's a great question. I'm not gonna know that, and I wish I did.
Do you know the year?
That's a great question. No, I don't even know that. I'm always iffy on where that happens. It's the most annoying book to file because I have hundreds of issues of that book, and some of it's X-Men and some of it's Uncanny, and it is obnoxious. But God, do I even have a good ballpark? Is it like early 70s?
Like issue number?
Well, no, year-wise.
Year-wise?
Is it like early 70s where it happens?
It's not early 70s.
Is it earlier than that?
No.
Or is it quite a bit later
than
that?
It's later than that.
Honestly, I have no idea.
Yeah. So it was...
This is something I should have at some point looked into.
Mm-hmm. So it was Uncanny X-Men 114, which is October 78.
You know, that rings a bell.
Yeah, I had heard of it when I looked it up.
Oh,
I was
78.
Like, oh, yeah.
Okay, so it happened later than I was thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, quite a bit later than I was
78.
thinking. Okay, all right. Who's in that? What's that cover? Do you know?
I don't know that cover.
He's gonna look it up for us real quick.
Yeah.
I want to see what that cover looks like. I mean, I guess I could try to pull it up. I'm not looking at comments, but let me pull it up so you guys can see it too. X-Men. You said so. That's when
that's
it is
the day the X-Men
Uncanny.
died.
Oh yes, I recognize that cover. Cool. That does seem like a random issue to suddenly change the name.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, oh, you've changed the name, and it's the X-Men died. So, I mean, that's pretty cool.
I'm going to do one better real quick, and I'm going to see if I own that issue.
Yeah.
Because I do have a lot of the issues around that. Believe it or not. And I have... So, quick plug for CLZ Comics. They don't sponsor us or anything, but I love shouting them out when I can, because I really like their service. Sorry, everybody, give me a second here. I just want to look this up and see if I have this. So I have my entire comic collection cataloged in this app. So the earliest issue I own of Uncanny is 37, which is August 1967.
Okay.
And...
That's pretty good. I know you have a lot of it.
Okay, I have 90 and I have 121. But I don't have anything in between.
Oh, okay.
I don't have anything in between 90 and 121. But then after 121, I'm pretty consecutive.
Okay.
For quite a bit.
Okay, cool.
Let me look here. Well, I say that 126, 127, 129. It starts to get consecutive after that. Anyway, I don't know if that's interesting to anybody else, but... you guys, I have been getting, real comic mood lately. Like, I'm having this real resurgence of interest in just the medium in general and in seeing what's happening right now in a way I haven't in years. I mean, I've always continued my interest in the medium to some degree, but I wasn't really regularly reading anything. I would occasionally gap fill when I was somewhere that had, some good inexpensive comics. But yeah, it's twofold. So it's Brandon and it's Austin. Brandon.
What did Austin do?
Brandon brought me. Well, I'll tell you. Brandon brought me that big collection of about 800 books. That I did a video with him on a couple weeks ago, and if you like comics and you're curious, go check that out because it was a treasure trove. We had so much fun looking through it. He found what was it? 6 or 7 short boxes and a long box full at a yard sale where a guy was just trying to get rid of stuff, and he sold him all of it for $60, and I paid Brandon for it, and I got all of it. There was some really good stuff in there, and quite a few keys even. I got the first appearance of Black Lightning, which I guess it's just Black Lightning #1, but I got 3 copies of Spider-Man 2099 #1. I got. I got an issue of year 2. There's some really good stuff in there, and anyway, so going through that and kind of shopping through it and pulling out the stuff that I wanted and logging it, I really wetted my palate again for comics. Got me excited about updating my collection and getting it organized again, because I've got some stacks of things I've never filed and still some things to bag and board, and it's just I'm a little disorganized. So I got excited about doing that again. And then Austin has us read the first volume of Absolute Batman for review a couple weeks ago, and that just lit a fire under me. And all of a sudden I was like, what the hell is happening in comics today? This is fascinating. Mm-hmm. And I should have hated that. Mm-hmm. And individually, I hated almost every element about it. But you put it all together, and it was awesome. I love that book. And I've started reading. And Austin says, and he likes that book too, but he said, it's the worst of them, as good as it is. He says all the Absolute books are even better than that is. And I'm 3 issues into Superman. and I'm liking it quite a bit too.
Okay.
And then we reviewed Space Ghost, and I'm loving that. And bought the first issue of Captain Planet. And
Lots of comics.
I'm in a place again.
Yeah.
And this could. I don't want to speak prematurely and announce anything, but this could change some things with the trajectory of the channel. I'll just if I hang on to this for a few weeks, I could see things getting a little more comic focused again. If I find myself staying in this place, I might also just be kind of on a high right now.
Sure,
that happens. I don't know. It does, but I think things are turning around in the industry a little bit. Now it might be little too late. It's still on fire, as far as commercially, but some really interesting creative things going down, and I want to be there for at least some of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not done with your quiz, are we?
No, we're not.
Apologies.
Are you ready for question 8?
Yeah, I went into a type. You know what? It's my show. It's my okay. Go ahead.
You did, but
go ahead.
It's okay. But this is my segment. That's the thing.
Oh no! I took over your segment.
Yeah.
Are you upset with
me? No.
Am I in trouble?
My question to you is: are you ready for question 8?
I could not be less ready for question 8. But go ahead.
Batman has appeared in 10 live-action theatrical movies with Batman or The Dark Knight in the title.
Do I have to name all of them?
No. Though in only 4 of these, he says...
Name all of them.
In only 4 of these, he says
I'm Batman.
Classic phrase, I'm Batman.
Yes.
Name all 4 of these movies.
Okay, he says... Well, it's not The Batman, because he says I'm Vengeance in that movie. So he says I'm Batman in 89, and he says it in Batman and Robin, because he says, Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman. And I think he says it in Returns, but I can't remember exactly where. And I know he says it in Begins.
You have 3 right.
I have 3 right, and you say there's 4?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not Returns?
No.
Okay. We just did Forever. Does he say it in Batman Forever?
Yeah, he does.
Where does he say it in Batman Forever?
He says in Batman Forever, it's one of those, like, mouth ones, where he goes, like...
Oh, does that count?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, that's why. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, can I just say this?
Yeah.
I don't mean to quibble, but whether it's vocalized or not, he would still be saying it with his mouth.
Well, yeah, but it's one of those, like, yeah.
It's one of those mouth ones.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's one of those times where he says, I'm Batman, with his mouth.
Question number 9.
Okay.
On December 31st of 2009, you made a superhero rewind video on your top 10 superhero movies of the decade.
Do I have to name all 10?
What was your number 1?
Batman Begins.
So you're half right.
Batman Begins and Dark Knight tied for number 1. Yes. I do remember that. Dr. Horrible was on that list.
Yeah, it's like 9.
Dr. Horrible's on that list. Watchmen's on that list.
Mm-hmm. Watchmen's high on that list.
Yeah, and for the longest time, I thought it was like the 2nd or 3rd best superhero movie ever made. I don't think that now, but I used to. Okay,
all right.
Number 10?
Number 10.
This is another banger of a list of questions.
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of 9. So that's
it sounds like a Borg. That that X-Men question was simultaneously great and not fair.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even be upset about it. It's such a good question. And then I could not appreciate the softballs more. Go ahead. What's your last question, sir?
Number 10.
All right.
3 of these, I'm gonna give you 4 episode titles. 3 of these 4 episode titles are a Star Trek episode that shares its title with a 90s X-Men episode.
That's awesome!
And one of these episode titles is just a Star Trek episode.
Dude, you're asking the kinds of crap I used to do back in Star Trek Club. I'm so impressed with this question. Okay. You don't even know how much I love this. You haven't heard them yet? I love this as a concept.
Your 4 episode titles are Descent,
Yep.
Obsession, Juggernaut, and Sanctuary. Which of these is the Star Trek episode?
Okay, now, Juggernaut should be obvious to everyone. Juggernaut is a Voyager episode, as well as obviously an X-Men episode. I love that. Sanctuary, I'm almost positive is an X-Men episode, but let me hear the other 2 again.
Descent and Obsession.
Okay, I'm really worried I'm going to be wrong here. Those are great, because all four of those sound like X-Men episodes. I'm almost positive Sanctuary is an X-Men episode. So that brings us to, if I'm right about that, that brings us to Obsession or, what was the other one? Descent.
Which is a
By the
TNG
way,
episode.
Descent's a really terrible TNG two-parter, and it's a cliffhanger, no less, and it's god-awful. Lore takes over the Borg. It's really stupid. Is it Descent or Obsession? I'm gonna say it's Descent.
It is not Descent.
Am I wrong? Is it Obsession?
It's Juggernaut.
Wait, really? I thought Juggernaut was a Voyager episode.
It is a Voyager episode.
Oh, but it's not.
It's not.
Oh, I see
the
what you're
name
saying.
of any X-Men episode.
But there's no X-Men episode named Juggernaut.
Named Juggernaut. Nope. There are episodes.
What's his first episode
His
called?
first episode is The Unstoppable Juggernaut.
Oh, you got me with that. You got me with that.
Yep.
Nicely done.
Descent is a season 5 episode.
I thought it was, but
That's like the second last episode. I don't remember exactly what happens in it.
That's an amazing question, Jason. I love that.
Yeah.
God, Juggernaut. So good. Adam Marsh, Jason should do this more often. You're really good at it.
Thanks.
Those are wonderful questions. Well, I did all right.
Oh yeah, you got 6 out of 10. You got over half.
Yeah. I'm not even upset
You've done before.
about losing that last one. That was a great question.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
It's kind of a trick question too.
Let's do some Ask Me Anything. Throw out anything you want to. If we've got some time, we'll hit those other Patreon questions for last month as well. Get caught up on that. I'm going to try to do something special for the patrons this month in lieu of being able to ask those questions that will have to do with the secret stream series we're going to do for those 3 weeks. So stay tuned for that. And I know I keep... I keep kind of harping on this, but now would be a really good time to be a patron if you're at all interested, because we're doing some pretty cool stuff over there. So anyway, throw out whatever you want to. We do have a couple super chats.
Mm-hmm. We have one super chat.
And let me remind, no, we should have
have two.
There's that $5 one that we haven't hit yet, and then there's
$10.
another $10 one that just came up a few minutes ago. If... Once again, you're just for folks that maybe came in later and weren't here at the start when I announced this. If you are interested in a fun personal video message from me, that you can send me your email and I will email it to you. You can leave a super chat and try to become top super chatter tonight. And the top super chatter tonight is probably so far $10, right?
Yes.
So you got to beat $10. And you can do it in multiple super chats if you want to, also. So you can get multiple questions tonight and get there if you want to. And it can be about anything you want it to be, within reason. You can give me a topic, and I will do my best to roll with it and give you something fun to watch, just me to you. All right, Jason.
So we have a $5 super chat from Michael McAllister. What does your ranking of the main 9 Star Wars movies look like now that we are a ways away from the Disney trilogy?
I hate to cop out with this, but my answer is I've given it no thought at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's not gonna be much different than it was before.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I ever really straight up ranked them.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go and do a complete ranking right now, but I'll just say, like, at the top will forever and always be Empire. Mm-hmm. And at the bottom is, I mean, it's almost like a 3-way tie, right? Like,
It's Rise of Skywalker. I mean, it's either Rise of Skywalker or Last Jedi.
So,
but
the problem for me is I really dislike Last Jedi, and Rise of Skywalker just didn't make me angry. It was so whatever. Like, it's terrible, and it's probably technically a worse movie than Last Jedi, but I was numb by that point. I had no feelings about it. Yeah. And it was easy to laugh at. Last Jedi I took too seriously because because I saw so much potential in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Because of what happened with that franchise, I find Force Awakens unwatchable at this point. Mm-hmm. Like, I really liked that initially, but only in imagining where it's going. It is a completely pointless waste of time now.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably better than any of the prequels.
it is like
I still haven't seen
on the
3.
technically on the face of it, it is. I can't say at this point that that whole sequel trilogy is any better than the prequels, but they're bad in different ways, a lot of them. Although I guess I would say Rise of Skywalker, as nonsensical and preposterous as it is probably the closest to a prequel in its way, right?
Yeah.
I want to say before the sequel trilogy, Attack of the Clones is the worst of those. And that's why I was going to say it's probably a three-way tie with Attack of the Clones and Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
That's interesting because I haven't seen 3, but I think Attack of the Clones is the best prequel of the, 1 and 2.
The ones you've seen?
I think it's better than 1, because 1 is just so nothing, and 2 is amazing.
So I've talked about this before, and you know what I'm going to say with this, but with episode 1, I just get wrapped up in the aesthetic of it. Like, you're right, it's slow, and it's starting the story before the story starts, so there's kind of nothing there. Like, you're absolutely right, but I do love the world building, if I can say that, with it. It's deeply flawed, absolutely, but I would still rather watch it over the other two. And I know I'm in the minority on that. I'm also older than a lot of our audience that grew up with those. And so you're going to have, your mileage is going to vary, and you're going to have a very different perspective on this if they were the things that introduced you to Star Wars, and if you were a kid as they were coming out, because I can't relate to the hype that the kids would have had.
Sure.
With that when that was coming out. I was already in high school by the time those were coming out.
The thing is, I watch Attack of the Clones.
I'm not even going to look at comments with this. I know everybody's going to be like, Cap's an idiot, but
no, people are agreeing with you.
Oh, wow. That's
disagreeing with me.
Shocking.
I watch Attack of the Clones on purpose just to laugh at it.
Well, that's the thing, is I can still have more fun with that than I personally can with Last Jedi.
Yeah.
And I get there are people that still really like that movie, but it didn't do it for me, and it kind of hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
At the time, I've never gone back to it.
No,
not since I did the commentary with Dan in person in New Hampshire in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, we got a $10.
Can you believe I flew all the way to New Hampshire just to do a Last Jedi commentary for you people? I'm kidding. That's not the reason I went there, but that is the thing that we decided to do while I was there.
That's how much this guy likes you. $10 from Victor Herman. How do you think the writing of superhero movies has changed in the decade since Batman '89? Do you see a significant change in how writers handle adapting stories or working within the genre?
Wow. Well, the difficulty there is there's been so much variety that there's lots of different approaches, right? If you want to just look at how Hollywood is looking at comic adaptation and superheroes in general at the time versus now, we're a lot more gun-shy at that point in being very off the page, and there's this feeling at that time that we've got to come up with a way to kind of mainstreamify it, and it was a big deal that Tim Burton was allowed to do what he wanted to as much as he did with that movie, because he broke through that really, really early. And I think things are allowed to be stylized as much as they are after that, because he broke the mold with that early. But as far as I don't know, I think this is a really difficult question to ask. Like how has, and he said specifically the writing.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how has the writing of superhero movies changed since '89? Mm-hmm. I think you almost have to look at it era by era, and I'm trying to figure out how to answer this without it turning into a term paper is the thing. Through the 2000s, some of it is certainly closer to what that movie was, in that it's not taking itself too seriously, and it's trying to simultaneously be a kind of escapist popcorn thing and still be a little heightened and fun and stylized. But then you have in with something like, say, X-Men, that attempt to like ground it and take it more seriously. So we're already trying to do that even that early. But a lot of things through the 2000s, I think, we're still looking pretty hard at Batman. While they were still maybe trying to separate themselves to some degree, like there are a lot of similarities with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man in both the way it's written and the way it's made to Batman, but then it also feels more like the world we live in, partly just because it's Spider-Man, right? But it's got a similar structure to that movie. And then once you get past Iron Man and Dark Knight, now we're looking at these things as potentially, more like cinema experiences, and we're wanting to deconstruct them a lot harder. I think that's maybe the answer, is like the further away you get from 89, the more we want to deconstruct, as opposed to just adapt the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I also think that the further on you get, the less you're looking at a director's vision, and the more you're looking at a studio vision trying to just nail like what's going to get butts in the seats.
That's what I was going to say.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. No, that's exactly.
So I'm having to explore this a little bit to figure out what my opinion even is on this. This is not a thing I've really thought too much about.
I think the big difference is...
What I'm talking about is more approach than writing, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I was kind of stuck on that, where I'm sort of thinking about how dialogue is approached and that kind of thing, where I do feel like we get a little bit more naturalistic and, like, the way people speak today.
Yeah, 89 is very timeless.
Mm-hmm.
And,
it wants to be real old Hollywood in the way people talk.
Yeah. And then you get something like, I don't know, Spider-Man Homecoming or whatever, where you got movies that are just set here, which is also fine. I mean, also the thing is, I feel like you have
again,
to...
it depends on the project.
It very much... I feel like you have to look at how Batman 89 was written versus how BVS was written versus how the Batman was written. You know what I mean? Like, you have to look at, because 89 was very much, we're going to try this, we're going to try to adapt this from a comic book and turn it into a standalone movie. And then... and
you have a director that looks at Batman in a very specific way that is not the way most people look at Batman.
Right. And then you have the DCEU, which, I mean, say what you want about the DCEU, but they were trying
and I will.
Yeah. They were trying to bank on, just these are the biggest DC things, so we have to do Batman. So this is how we put Batman into our thing that we've already established with Man of Steel. And then
that's a good point. Now that we're looking at the grander shared universe,
now we have
thing.
Because we used to have a standalone thing that got a sequel in Batman Returns, got a reboot, a soft reboot with Forever, but now we have this Batman movie that is around all these other movies, and then we get a reboot in the Batman that is of its own universe, and it just gets a lot more complicated.
Yeah, and Dan's Den made that point. He said superhero plots have also gotten a whole lot more complex, sometimes to their detriment.
Yeah, well, and also people are a lot more used to superhero movies now. With 89, it was more new.
We're pioneering. We don't even know if people are going to care and go see these things. I was going to say, to that point,
yeah.
I was going to say maybe the most simple and basic way to answer this question is, and this is so obvious, but bear with me for a second, 89 didn't exist before 89, and then everything after it is to some degree looking at that movie, like, or at least is influenced by that being kind of the start of like every superhero movie that comes out in the 90s is looking at 89, and so it becomes this massively foundational thing. And the difference is because you can say the most foundational superhero movie is Superman, obviously, and I would argue that in this day and age, more things are looking at that movie when they go back than even 89. But the difference is, 89 was not really looking at Superman.
Right.
And that's part of the brilliance of it.
Yeah.
To me, is that you only had one other mainstream superhero movie and at that point franchise, like major thing that anybody cared about. And then Batman comes out and it's also DC.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing it has to look at is Superman. And how much, and obviously I've talked about this movie ad nauseum, how much do you hear people like me talking about 89 comparing it to Richard Donner's Superman? Not at all.
At all, yeah.
Not really. Only in contrasting it.
Yes.
By the fact that movie, that Superman is set intentionally very much in its day. And it's timeless in that it holds up as a story.
Yeah.
And visually, with, considering how far back that is in model work and wires and everything, it's still great to look at. But it's set in the year that it comes out, very clearly and intentionally. And Batman is a blend of time periods. So there's interesting contrasting you can do. But structurally, it's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway,
yeah.
Let's go on to something else.
We have a question.
Thanks for that question.
Yeah.
Sometimes I stall out when I get questions like that, and I gotta figure out where I even land on it.
We have a question from One Reply, random question. But where are you on the Spider-Man 2099 suit color question? Should it be blue or black?
Blue, all the way, always. Yeah, it looks fine in the Spider-Verse movie, but it's not what I want. And I also don't love the new 2099 symbol over the old one.
I agree.
Like, it's fine.
It's good.
It's just that costume was perfect.
Yeah.
You didn't need to mess with it, especially in animation. Like, does it need to be darker?
I don't think so.
Did that suit go straight up black in that movie?
No, it's blue.
Is it? Okay. I get maybe in comics we've done it black.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he's talking about?
Yeah.
And when he said that, for a second, I was thinking maybe that suit was black. I don't always remember color the best.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I thought he was going to say? I thought he was going to say blue or white. Because have you seen that alternate suit that when Peter David did another run in the 2010s, we got this weird white so there was, I think it was like another volume. I think he did a volume of 2099 that was the original suit, and then he puts on this other suit in the next volume. If I'm remembering this right, it's been too long. And that suit looks like the white Dino Thunder Ranger.
Weird. One reply says the question is based on dialogue from the comic.
Oh. Do they talk about it like it's black, but it isn't black?
No, I guess they choose what it.
Oh, okay.
That's important.
It's been too long. I just don't remember.
I never.
I'm rusty. I need to read back through those. And I've never read that whole series, I'm sorry to say. I always hesitate making too big of a deal out of things I'm a fan of, because I feel like if I say I'm a fan, you're going to expect me to be an expert and know everything. And sometimes I just really, really like a thing. And sometimes it's superficial and it's about aesthetic. Like, we reviewed Dynamite Space Ghost last night, and I think of myself as a Space Ghost fan. I've never watched more than an episode or two of that original series, because it's old Hanna-Barbera, and it's very generic, and it's not super watchable. And so there's a bunch of stuff about Space Ghost I don't know. And I haven't seen, like every episode of Coast to Coast. I've seen a lot of Coast to Coast.
Yeah.
That stuff gets trippy. Like, you don't need drugs if you have Coast to Coast, especially once you get to, like, season 3.
Yep.
If you have access to that show, because unfortunately it's not streaming anymore, and you want to experience being on meth or cocaine or something, and without having to actually be on drugs, just watch those shows at like 1 a.m. And you will either experience that, or you'll feel like you've experienced something that somebody made when they were on meth or cocaine. Anyway, moving right along.
We got a Patreon question. This is from Justin Hayes, Back Studios.
Thanks, Bag Studios.
Just finished Year of Hell. Pretty great.
Year of Hell is a 2-part Voyager episode from season 4.
He says, pretty great. Should have been a season, though.
It was supposed to be.
I hope there's a novel or something set during that time to flesh it out better, even despite the cop-out ending. What are some Star Trek episodes...
He's right about all of this.
What are some Star Trek episodes that establish a status quo that you think should have stuck around longer, whether by occupying a whole season, being a longer multi-part arc, or having tie-in material that never got made, etc.?
Yeah, excellent question. I could do an entire stream about this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the first thing immediately...
Yeah. Sorry, before you get into that, let me just say, I don't think there is a book that... that embellishes on Year of Hell. There might be just a straight-up adaptation, but we won't have added anything. I'm sorry to say. But sorry, go ahead.
Immediately I think of Best of Both Worlds. What if Picard dies? Or becomes a Borg forever.
Or stays Locutus for like a season and then they rescue him.
Yeah.
Best of Both Worlds feels like a status quo that should have been around for several episodes.
With Riker
and it goes without saying, I will make this point real quick and then we'll move on. I don't want to linger on this, but I feel like obligatorily I always have to bring this up for people that don't know their Star Trek and weren't there for this stuff, and just say, as much as we would have loved Year of Hell as a whole season, Best of Both Worlds, more parts, Unification was supposed to be a 5-parter. I don't know if you know that. The 2-part Spock episode in TNG, that was supposed to be 5 parts originally.
Oh, no.
As much as... It would have been a lot better, though.
Yeah, I mean, it would.
That has a bad second part, partly because it didn't get the treatment it was supposed to. But as much as we would have liked some of this stuff to happen, it was just never going to.
Yeah.
Because the studio... I can't say network because those things were syndicated, or at least TNG was, but they wouldn't have been allowed to not be episodic because viewers needed to be able to channel flip and show up on an episode and be interested and stay in it. And if it was too much of a commitment, they weren't allowed to do that until Deep Space Nine. And that was those showrunners, by the middle of the series especially, just like going their own way and kind of fighting with Berman and eventually winning that argument. And they had the luxury of having just enough viewership to keep the show on, and little enough that there was no oversight. Nobody was paying attention to what they were doing. That was really nice. Unfortunately, Voyager got popular enough when 7 of 9 came on that then UPN was... putting their mitts in it more. And anyway, sorry, I just wanted to make that point real quick.
Yeah. I mean, I've always
so many answers to this.
And Enterprise Season 5, I mean, there's just lots of stuff.
Of course, but specifically the idea of story arcs or episodes that should have been multi-part, or, like, it's easier for me to answer follow-ups with this. There are lots of episodes that will... kind of ominously tease the villain of that episode eventually coming back that never does. For instance, the parasitic brain creatures in Conspiracy in first season TNG. Make a big deal out of, oh god, they're coming. Never happens.
Nope.
It'd be like if you got to the end of Q-Who and then we just never brought the Borg back.
Yeah. Well, and I kind of...
There's also a lot of fan speculation that those are connected somehow.
Oh, okay. I also wish we had stayed with the season 1 Ferengi for just a bit longer.
Yeah, you always...
I like the season 1 Ferengi. I like that episode a lot. I mean, obviously, the Ferengi we got in, like, Deep Space Nine and everything, that is a lot better. But I kind of wish it had, like, broken off into, like, its own... species, or like we had like done just a different species that the Ferengi was.
I think Equinox is kind of similar to Year of Hell. It didn't have to be a status quo for a long time. Like we're constantly fighting with this other Federation ship that's lost its way and ignores the Prime Directive now. But it might have been neat if we had something like that where we have a skirmish with them and then they go their own way and we don't see them for several episodes and then they come back. That's a thing that could have like come in and out, and that would have been cool. Voyager has a lot of things like this.
Yeah.
A big one for me as far as follow-ups go was Thomas Riker. Thomas Riker comes back in Defiant in Deep Space Nine one more time. And Second Chances is one of my favorite episodes of Star Trek. And the big reveal, spoilers for that, but the big reveal that he's not actually Riker and is pretending to be Will Riker and is a Maquis is great. And then he gets thrown in prison at the end of that episode. You never see him again. That we have done novels about. More stuff with him.
Yeah.
There are a lot of good answers to this. I almost want to sit down and make a list.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit rusty, so I know there's a couple big things that just are not coming to my brain right now.
Worf just should have stayed on that bed after getting hit with a barrel.
In Ethics?
Yeah.
And he's
just
there
for like
a whole season?
Yeah.
Just every now and again somebody comes in and is like, okay, Worf, I need to explain something to you, and I need you to not respond with, help me commit suicide, okay?
Yeah. Just a whole season of Remember Me.
The thing with Year of Hell is, I'll mention this real briefly, and then eventually I'd like to do a stream on this. I should write some more things out, but I gave you a few examples. And then there's lots of like TOS episodes that would have been nice to eventually have a follow up to.
Yeah.
Like every fan has written their Mirror and like Mirror sequel, and there's Patterns of 4C. There's a lot of episodes that would have been cool to bring back in some way. But real quick, just for Bag's interest and anybody else that doesn't know but cares about this, Year of Hell was originally planned as a whole season arc, and again, the studio, the network, or whatever just wouldn't allow it. And it is really sad that it just turned into 2 episodes because you didn't ever feel the danger of the Delta Quadrant the way you should have with that. And to finally have resources being that thin and Janeway at her wit's end and in positions where it's really difficult for her to keep her principles such as they are is, just clearly wonderful drama.
I've still never seen it.
Okay, we'll watch that at some point. Year of Hell is set up in one of the best season 3 episodes and the good Kes episode. I mean, Kes has one great episode. She's okay in some stuff, but she has one great episode. It's called Before and After, and I think Before and After is the name of it, or is it? No, it's not Before and After.
I think it's Before and After.
Where she's aging backwards.
Yeah.
And
not Before and After. I thought.
And I think I'm right about that. And anyway, she is aging backwards, and we see her in time periods we've not arrived at yet. And just before we get to where we're at in present day Voyager, she winds up in Year of Hell, which is an episode that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
And we're being told about the Krenim. We don't know anything about them yet. We just know that they're firing on the ship, and we're kind of at war with them. And that name is name dropped. Year of Hell is said in the episode.
Oh wow.
Where Chakotay or somebody is like that was in the middle of the Year of Hell, and they had this all planned, and then it ended up just being this 2-parter. But what's cool is there's not actually anything that contradicts it. Once you get to Year of Hell, everything, if memory serves, everything still pretty well fits. And it helps that we don't really know about the time travel aspect with it. We don't know about Anorax and his trying to change the timeline, and that's why all that's happening. Okay. You haven't seen Year of Hell, so you don't know what I'm talking about yet. But anyway, great question, Bag.
Do you want to do our last segment?
Adam March, I endorse this as a full Trek stream. I'm glad he's here. Maybe with Adam and Brandon. Yeah, it's a good idea. I should talk to Adam and Brandon and see if I can get them to bring a list of like 3 or 5 episodes that I would have liked to have seen as more than one part, or stories that could have been entire seasons, or maybe even like half a season or something.
Yeah.
There are some episodes, some like single part episodes that I would have loved to have seen dragged out to 2, where they just feel too truncated, and I would just need some time to think about it.
Yeah, I know there are some. I need to think about it.
Okay, give me one more question, then we'll end things out.
Okay,
and then
I mean, we don't really...
Oh, I thought you said you had another question.
Well, I asked you if you wanted to just go to the final segment, because we...
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said final question.
No.
I guess we better do that real quick. Well, we're at 2 hours. Do we want to save it, or should we go ahead and do it?
I think
because we're not going to do the Captain Logan show for like a month, so I feel like okay. Brandon, give us a minute, because we're going to do one more segment here on the Captain Logan show, and then we'll take about a 10-minute break, and we'll come back with After Dark for the patrons. Once again, if you want to keep hanging out with us, patreon.com/geekvolution, just the $2 tier, and Brandon and Jason and I. Sorry, I'm waiting for Brandon to stop breaking my chairs. We're each going to try to bring a topic, and we'll talk about stuff we don't always talk about on the channel. It'll be, somewhat GNN-like, but sometimes with things that aren't even about pop culture. It could be really anything could come up. I don't even know what I'm going to bring up yet.
Freaking weird.
It sometimes is freaking weird. Although it won't be the same brand of weird, because Jason will be there.
Right.
And so Brandon has to be on his
Brandon
almost best behavior. He has to be on his okay behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and get into the last segment. Jason, would you announce what we're doing? We got to not spend too much time on this.
Oh, yeah.
Should I Google image search while we do this, just so that we can kind of look at them?
Oh, you can. Yeah.
Should we do that?
Yeah. So we're doing the 10 live-action Batman suits, ranked. We're doing the
ranked.
Yeah, we're going 66, 89 Returns Forever and Robin, Batman Begins, Dark Knight / Rises, BVS, and the Batman and the Flash.
Yeah, so we're gonna rank these suits. We're gonna see how mine and Jason's lists compare. I found this to be a completely pointless exercise.
Me too.
I gotta be honest with you, but we're gonna try it anyway. I thought this was about as arbitrary as it gets, and we left off some things because we wanted to make it an even 10. So there are some live action suits that aren't here, but all of the movies that have live action suits are represented.
Yes.
So we don't have the alternate Ben Affleck Batman suit from Justice League. We don't have the prototype suit from Batman Forever, and we don't have the ice suit from Batman and Robin. But all the major suits are here.
Yes.
So how exactly do you want to do this?
I think we just go back and forth. 10
that
to 1.
might be weird. I think it'd be better if we did it one at it. Like you do your list
I'll
and I do my list.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
All right.
But yeah, like I don't know. I didn't. We thought of this kind of last minute, so I didn't have a chance to pull all the suits up. So I don't know if we should like just search them up as we go.
I think we just search them up as we go.
Okay. All right.
All right. So at number 10, I have BVS. This is one of the reasons why I hate this movie.
Wow, you have it all the way at the bottom?
Yeah. So overall, just I don't like the what this movie looks like just really at all. That's one of the reasons why I don't like it. But I don't like how like muscular it is. I don't like the belt at all. And the bat is too big. And the cowl's okay, but I don't like what the bat suit looks like.
Wow.
So at number 9, I have the Flash. Obviously, it's looking at the 89 suit, which is great. But it's the belt. Like, what happened to it? And can't he like move his neck now? I don't know what they did, but and And
So that's not their fault. Keaton insisted on that.
Yeah.
Keaton said, "I won't play Batman if I can turn my neck."
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I like how sleek it looks, but it's just I also just I don't like that movie. So but that as a suit.
That colors it.
Yes.
To be fair, that colors it. All right, keep going.
Number 8, I have Batman and Robin.
I almost want to just let this be your segment, and I won't even rank them.
Yeah.
This will just be Jesus.
Batman and Robin. What did I not like about this one?
Everything.
It's actually not too. Okay, no,
Wait,
actually,
that's not it.
Actually, no, it sucks. I forgot about that.
Actually,
so,
no, it sucks.
Why does the torso look like that? What?
To be fair, we've got muscle chests in all 4 of those.
Yes, but this is the most defined one, and it just looks weird, and it's like all black, and it's like I don't know.
George Clooney doesn't skip crunch day.
Yeah, I do like I do kind of like the ones at the beginning of the movie with like the silver in them. You know, where he has the.
Oh, that's
like,
true. They do have
suit
like 3 different suits in that, don't they?
Yeah, and I like that. Okay, but I prefer Robin's suit in this to Batman's.
I mean, they're all designed by, an action figure company.
Yes.
And
Yes.
literally.
Yeah.
Kenner made those up. Okay, keep going.
Number 7, Batman Returns. So Batman Returns, I actually like the logo a lot better than 89 because 89, I just now realized this. 89 has a weird tail.
It does.
I don't like the tail.
Well, you're wrong.
I like that they removed the tail, but what is that cowl?
What's wrong with the cowl?
The mask is like, it makes him look so much more angry than the 89 one.
That's true. He's got a permanent scowl on his forehead.
He's got like
foreheads aren't even where the scowl goes.
And then he's got like this up here, and it's like I don't know.
He does have that up there.
Yeah, it's like it's all like coming back to the back of his face, and I don't really like what his cowl looks like, but it does have some improvements over 8 and 9. Now at number 6, I have Batman Forever, and I actually like the Batman Forever suit. I think it's better. I don't think it's obviously I don't think it's better than 89 because I didn't put it over 89. But I actually like the suit a lot. The only thing I don't like about it is the bat nipples, and I'll put so many people have talked about that, but that's really the only thing.
To be fair, it also has a lot going on in the muscle chest.
Yes. But
do you like the silkiness of the cape?
I do.
I do too.
Just the overall vibe of that movie is a lot of the reason why I like that movie. So and obviously the suit adds to it. So that's why I have it at 6. Number
I
5,
like that you're talking about the context of the thing in the movie, where it's like some things in a vacuum are better than in the thing, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. Keep going.
No, number 5, I have 66 Batman. Now 66 Batman is a little weird to put in with all these other ones because
it's made for television. It's cloth.
Comparing it to all the other ones, there's like nothing going on here. There's no muscle chest. There's the bat symbol is like really tiny
and low.
Yeah, and super low. I don't know about how low it is, but I mean you can't really critique this suit. I mean it's kind of a perfect suit. In my opinion,
the best part about the Adam West suit is the drawn on
the eyebrows. Drawn on eyebrows are awesome.
It's the best.
So yeah, I mean, comparing it to the other suits, I put it in the middle just as a safe bet. I mean, it's not a bad suit at all, but it's also very different. Now at number 4, I have Dark Knight. Now people might be like, "What are you doing? The Dark Knight suit is awesome."
What are you doing?
No,
I mean that the other way. How is it this high?
I actually okay. So I like the Dark Knight suit a lot. And I'll tell you why once we get to Begins. But I've always loved that belt. And I just like how like high tech.
Yeah, the belt's not that far away from the Begins belt, though. I mean, that's one of the only things I do like about this suit.
Yeah. I don't like this. I don't like this suit as much as the other 3 that I have on here, but I actually do like it in the context of the movie. I like how it works in the context of how dark that movie is.
I will give them that it looks like it could take a punch.
Yeah.
It looks like
I
it'd
like
be hard
how
to stab through it.
high tech it is. It looks. I don't like the bat symbol on it at all. I don't like,
especially
how little it is. I don't like
business
the
of the
thing.
black around the bat.
Yeah, I don't
so
like
what,
that at all.
What is that about? Too many lines.
Yeah, and I just don't think they needed to do a new suit really, but I think they could have just done the Begin suit. But
no, and why not improve it for Rises? Then Rises gets the same suit. It's like, oh, we perfected it now. I'm like, no, you went backwards.
Yeah. Now, number 3.
All they needed was Begins, but he can move his neck.
Yeah. Now, number 3, I have 89. And this was at the top for a really long time. And then I went, well, this suit's really good. I mean, there's kind of nothing bad about it. The cape is awesome. And the cowl is correct.
Yep.
And
it's got the right kind of eyebrows.
But the only thing is the tail on the thing. I don't know why it looks like that.
You're
That's
wrong.
not what
It's
the
wonderful.
logo looks like for the movie. But I will say, like, it's not the most defined muscle chest.
That's what I like about it.
Works
Batman
well
is
with
selling Batman, not the movie Batman.
Yeah, but like I don't know.
It's weird. You're not wrong, but I've always appreciated it.
Well, I just noticed it, so now it's on my mind. That's the
I
problem.
didn't just notice it.
But yeah,
there's 89 in
Look
returns
at
in
the returns.
comparison.
It goes like it's like looking down on you, and then the 89 one is more like, I don't know. It's less serious, but also it lets you take him more serious at the same time. And number 2, I have the Batman.
Wow. Okay.
I really like the suit. I like the kind of the armorness of it. It's just very different. And I don't know. It works for like a year 2 Batman.
It's kind of military.
I like how military it is, and but it also kind of works in that like detective style. It feels like something that you would.
It's got a collar.
Yeah,
which is strange.
Yeah, that's cool though. It feels like something that you would wear playing Arkham or something.
I almost want to see what he wears next time.
Yeah.
Before I rank it, like to this day, I don't know what I think of the suit.
I like the suit a lot.
It's sort of like it is a prototype suit, or like you said, it's early in his career.
Yeah.
But
and
I sort of want to see what he goes to next.
I like how they put the bat in there and everything, and I don't know. The only thing I don't know if I like about it is the gauntlets.
Yeah.
The gauntlets are a little, but I can excuse it. At number 1, I have Batman Begins.
Wow.
I was looking at the suit and I was like, yeah, this is a perfect suit.
It's a perfect suit if you're okay with jet black.
I am okay with jet black.
I am okay with jet black. I still don't love that, but we haven't had a on-screen bat suit that totally gets away from it. Oh, that is Dark Knight, isn't it? God, these people don't even know what Begins is. There's Begins.
I like it in the context of that movie. If you put it in Forever, it wouldn't work. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I usually don't like the embedded bat symbol like that, but I like it there.
I like it there, and the belt's awesome.
Yep. No, it's great. It is the second best belt. 89's belt is perfection.
Yeah. I'd say so, yeah.
I like the color of that belt.
Yeah.
A lot, too. Yeah. And
I like how it stands out from the rest of it.
And it's a great cowl.
Yes. It's a really good
great cowl.
And it just makes me want to watch Batman Begins. You know what I mean? The Dark Knight suit does not make me want to watch The Dark Knight. It kind of still does, but
like I said, I found this to be a really arbitrary exercise. So I don't even know where I'm at, or like if I agree with my own ranking.
Mostly because most of these suits are like a sequel to the other suits, so it's like,
that's true.
Do you put them next to each other on the list, or do you put them all mixed matched? Which I did the second thing.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. Okay, I'll run through mine real quick.
Yeah, because I talked a lot.
No, you're good. You're good. We'll just make this mostly Jason's segment. But yeah, so we won't look at the suits again. We won't go back through them all. But I'll just kind of run down mine 10 to 1 real quick. I put Batman and Robin at the end.
All right.
I put that 10.
It sucks.
I have the Dark Knight suit at 9.
Wow.
I don't like that suit. I'm
like
with you
it.
that the Begin suit should have just continued to be the suit.
Yeah.
It's got too many lines
I
on
don't
it.
know. I don't know if I like it over 66. I should have put it under 66, but yeah.
I have the Flash suit, the Keaton suit at 8.
Okay.
It's not enough like the 89 suit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm with you on that belt. It just drives me nuts. I don't know why they had to. I don't know what the point was of really changing it much at all. If they were gonna sell it on 89 Batman, like, especially because the car is the same. I never really understand that. I mean, maybe their thinking was, well, he's got to evolve because he's older and he's done this for a long time. Like, okay, but the car looks the same. I don't know. But then also the Batwing is completely different.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand. And I don't mean to be like it's bad because it's different. It's just you already have them there just to make on nostalgia. So why not just go all the way with it then?
Yeah.
I don't really get that. But just the changes made in that suit were very random and odd to me. I have BVS after that, which is a suit that I don't personally love. And the context of that movie, it's weird because I still don't know why it's gotta be Dark Knight Returns, except just you have an older Batman with a chip on his shoulder. But it's odd that that's such a that it's taking from such specific source material when nothing else in that movie is. That's what was really odd about that choice to me. And I've never been the biggest fan of the Dark Knight Returns suit anyway. Mm-hmm. And you know me, I don't like short Batman ears. But the thing for me with that is if they made a Dark Knight Returns movie, that suit is fine.
Yeah.
So, like, I like the design of it as an adaptation. I just don't love the design of the first place. And I think it's strange to do it in that movie. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, oh, just because he's going to fight Superman, it's got to be the Dark Knight version. It's like, well, then just do an adaptation of that. So, anyway. And then after that, I'm sorry to say, I've got the Batman, like, right in the middle.
Okay.
Just because I'm ambivalent to that suit.
Sure.
It does work really well in the context of that movie, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want a toy of it.
I agree.
And I don't love that I don't want a toy of it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
But it's not a movie that necessarily has to be toyetic. I'm just saying that
no, that's just
superficially,
not a
I can't get excited about that suit. I have Batman Forever after that.
All right.
Which I like for all the reasons you stated. Then I have Batman Returns, which seems really high, because I think of myself as not a fan of that suit. But it's not different enough from the 89 suit for me to put it any lower. Mm-hmm. I feel almost like a weird hypocrite if I go much lower because, well, you love the 89 suit. What's wrong with the return suit? I do like the weird bat.
5 away. But
some of that is just nostalgia stuff, I guess. My big problem with the return suit is the stomach, the six-pack, just looks so plastic. Mm-hmm. And I've always complained that it looks like it's the antithesis to the Dark Knight suit, where it looks like you could just stab it really easily, like stab through it, like there's no padding. Mm-hmm. And then they make it a plot point where Catwoman just stabs right through it. Then I've got 66 at 3.
Okay.
Just because it's perfect for that material.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to compare it to any of the rest of this.
Yeah.
Like, it's just correct for what they made.
Yes.
I don't know what else to say. And then I have Begins at 2 and 89 at 1.
Yep. That's correct.
That is correct.
Yep. No, I should have. I think Dark Knight is actually like under Returns for me. Actually.
Victor Herman, the Batman cowl was perfect. Yeah, I don't know. I also have not spent enough time in that movie.
I'm gonna go back to it. I'm gonna go back to it tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay, we've got to finish up here. We've got Brandon waiting on us, and we've got to do an After Dark, so we're going to get going. But thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Jason, who won Top Super Chatter? We didn't have a lot this way of Super Chats, but we had a few.
Yeah, I think it was Victor Herman.
Was that the $10 Super Chatter?
Yes.
Okay, so Victor, send me an email. I will throw that in the chat here. Give me just a second. And so send me an email if you would like a personal video message from me. I'll make it 8-10 minutes or longer, depending on what you ask me to talk about. And give me a kind of broad topic. Don't get too specific with it. Let me, if you can, let me kind of riff a little bit. But if you'll just throw in kind of a broad question or a topic that I can talk to you about, or just any cool, geeky personal information about you that I can work with. I want you to talk about cheese. You want me to talk about cheese? Mm-hmm. I don't even eat cheese anymore.
Talk about that.
I haven't hardly had cheese in like 4 years.
Okay.
And this concludes my talk on cheese.
Yep.
Anyway, so Victor, send me a message, and I will send you a cool video message. And in the meantime, we appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Austin and I will be back tomorrow night. We're going to do a review of a movie from the late 90s, a thriller called The Insider. That's for request. And then Friday night, we're doing the Superhero Rewind commentary on Hulk, on Ang Lee's Hulk. I will try to do another 89 commentary on Sunday, and then we'll be out all next week for regular stuff. I might do 1 or 2 random streams if I can work them in, but I don't want to promise anything. And then the madness will ensue the week after that, but we are not ready to tell you what the madness is.
Nope, we won't tell you.
So just gear up for something different.
Eat cheese. No,
I'm going to eat cheese on camera for the first time in 4 years. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you again real soon. I was Captain Logan. This was Jason.
Yep, that's me.
Good night, everybody.